Did someone say updates? Well, it's that time. This season 3, episode 4, and I'm going to give you updates on things that we talked about in the past, but we're going to talk about the progression now. And it's about the life sentence that they received for the hate crime. And also, it took a black family 98 years, you guys. 98 years for them to receive their own land back, and now that land includes a beach. That's for the come up. And let's talk about how she received 9.5 years in Russia. And the only way she's getting out now is through a trade. And we're going to talk about it because I got something to say. Let's go.
So real here, and as you know, I got something to say. You might like it, you might love it, you might even hate it, but anything you stand right in. So just comment below.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. And when you see this, comment below and let me know you're here. And if you are here and still watching, that means you're a part of the I Got Something to Say experience. And I thank you for being here thus far. And if you want to be a part of the movement or continuing to have topics that you want to hear on the show, you can hashtag IGSTS. That means I Got Something to Say. We will look up those hashtags on articles, stories, on social media platforms, and then we will educate ourselves on that story and give you our educated commentary. That's it and that's all. So now that you know how it works, we welcome you to Black Otics. Here we go.
Politics, the activity associated with the governance of African American lives and or when our culture is entangled in political propaganda with a negative outcome.
So let's talk about Ahmaud Arbery. I want you to remember that name because it's very important that you remember those who we've lost based off of the racism. It's just crazy. It's baffling, to be honest. But nonetheless, the McMichaels and their friend, the son and father who chased down the black man who was just jogging in his own neighborhood, stopped by a home that was being renovated or rebuilt to look at it and to spot it. They followed him and they killed him in broad daylight. Well, yeah, they were convicted and now they receive life sentences federally for hate crimes because you killed them just for being black. So you guys, let's talk Texas. So Texas is actually having immigrants bust and sent to New York. We have the craziest governor ever. Greg Abbott is the governor of Texas, and I reside here. And I'm a census worker, I'm a voting poll worker, and I also register people to vote in the state of Texas. I actually put my work where my mouth is and my mouth where my work is, because that's all I do is talk about politics, so I might as well work in it. Nonetheless, I say all of that to say that Greg Abbott is very smart and has a tactic. A lot of people that come in as immigrants from Mexico or whatever actually become citizens because they do exactly what needs to be done to become citizens of the United States. Well, that means they'll be voting in Texas, and like Texas last go around in the election, they actually were turning blue. Well, Greg Abbott's been sending them to New York, and New York has been speaking about it. We watching you, Greg. We see what you're doing. You guys, let's talk Bruce Beach. Now, we talked about this in season 2, and I want to give you an update. Well, you know a family by the name of the Bruces, Willa and Charles Bruce, bought this land for like $1,200 in 1912. Well, in 1924, a local council decided to say, hey, we're just going to take your land from you. Where their family has been fighting for decades. Decades. Now, 98 years later, in 2022, the courts in California signed the land back over to the family. Now, the city has to lease the parks and everything that's on the land for over $413,000 a year. That land is now worth $20 million. And that family just received their land back. Anthony is the great-great-grandson of Willa and Charles Bruce. And he received all his land back with the family. They signed the deed over this month. And it's a congratulating thing. Since season 2, I've been speaking of Brittany Griner and her family as they've been fighting to get their daughter from the WNBA back to American soil. As you know, she received 9 years in prison over in Russia for cannabis oil. And she's now serving that time. And because they normally give 10 years, they gave her the max sentence. Well, it's 2 now people over in Russia that are detained. And now the Biden administration is trying to figure out if they can trade 2 Russian detainees over for the 2 American detainees and get them back on American soil. We don't know if that'll work because previously it did not. But we'll keep you updated here on I Got Something to Say. I want to thank you so much for watching the show, keeping me updated on topics that you want to hear, and I will see you on the next following episode. Deuces, my people. I love y'all.